Welcome back, everyone, to an exciting episode of Kicking It with Gab N Chuch.
I am Gab,
And I'm Chuch.
back with another episode. We got some Champions League coming back for you. Another start of the Barclays Man Player of the Week again. We had our Yannick Bolasie and Wilfred Bonny as the last two episodes. Still gonna keep continuing with that every week or every episode and give you some, good ballers. I got another one set for you coming up this week. We got Champions League, Premier League preview, and that is all. Let's have Chooch jump in with his banger of the week.
Banger of the week. The Beast or the Boss? I don't know. That goal was a banger.
Yeah, it's a
banger.
Yeah, definitely a banger. Outside the box, first time. Just top bins only. Thought it was definitely, the best one. Did have an honorable mention for Kenan Yildiz from Juventus. Just an old school finesse. This is like absolute banger. It was inside the box, but still just
First ever Champions League goal as well.
Yeah, so just absolutely unreal goal from him as well. But definitely, I'd say I think it was the Boss. I don't know. Anyway, from Sporting wins our banger of the week for the Champions League. Moving into this is my Barclays Man of this podcast episode. You are looking at,
Don't do it. Don't say it.
Just that, Chooch hates on a lot of bald guys around here. He doesn't have an act for it. He does. I don't know what it is. Doesn't get along with the bald people. But I'm gonna have to go with John Joe Shelvey, Swansea, Liverpool, Newcastle United, absolute beast. He is a Barclays man through and through. 250 Premier League appearances. Unreal long shot ability, unreal pass ability. I mean, this guy, just throw on a highlight reel. It doesn't matter if it's for Swansea. It doesn't matter if it's for Newcastle. Liverpool didn't really play too much. I think he played at Blackpool at some point too, but I think he's in the Swiss first division or second division right now. Was at Forest last season. Not really, playing too much nowadays, but definitely, just throw him on. You check out our TikTok. We'll have a video of him as well coming up shortly. But yeah, massive, just unreal long shots. Nothing I can really say outside of that and the passing. Not too many goals and assists as a midfielder. Did have, about a decade in the Premier League. Really made a name for himself at Swansea. Got the big move to Newcastle. They got relegated the season he went. He was big part of getting them back in it just the next season. Won the EFL Cup with Swansea. Same with Wilfred Bonny was in that squad as well. I believe Michu was in that squad as well. Other Barclays men that are massive. But definitely, he's one of them. I don't know why we've had a Swansea theme, it seems, almost. But, Swansea were huge back then, so it makes a little bit more sense. Still are huge, I'm sure, but John Joe Shelvey. Look him up. And if you play EAFC or FIFA, he always had some nasty cards. Let's go hop in to our Champions League recap. So many games. I think we said 6 games a day. You could have chosen, it's unbelievable how many matches there were. It was unbelievable which game you were going to choose. Tuesday, we could start off with then. Go for it, Chooch.
Yeah, Tuesday. I would say Tuesday was the better half of the game, or the better day of games. But yeah, we had opener game, Juventus, PSV. Yildiz, like we mentioned, scored his first goal for Juventus. Good goal. Weston McKennie has been balling out every summer. I feel the past 2 summers I've heard that they're trying to offload him, they're trying to get rid of him. Um, but here he is in the starting 11, and then with the goal in the Champions League final, not final, in the Champions League opener.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I think we said that we expected Juventus to win this game, but with what really they've had going on, I mean, they haven't been one of the better teams. They had the point deduction that really kept them down. They went through a phase after Ronaldo where lost a bunch of key players. PSV, really good team. I mean, a team we always see in the Champions League every season, or a team that sometimes can stun us. I mean, didn't really do too much, but it is the first game. 3-1, not surprising results. Had a banger of the week, honorable mention in there, but definitely, some good games, I'd say. We had quite a bit of crazy results. Not crazy results, but we had a couple good results for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, again, going on to the next game, we had Aston Villa against Young Boys. Huge, huge result. Great game by Yori Telemans. Their first goal in what 20 something years in the Champions League.
Yeah. And they didn't
Uh,
flop like Newcastle did so
yep.
far. So
Yeah.
far.
It is Young Boys, but still. And then
Yeah.
Ramsey, who's been playing good, scores. Onana, who's been playing good, scored. So it's good to see. Um, Once again, we see Ollie Watkins with an assist. Kind of where he started off last season.
John Duran did get a goal called back, but
It would have
I
been a
mean,
banger.
yeah, absolutely good one for him for sure. Yeah, Villa are firing right now. We'll see what happens. Short week. I mean, they proved it to us this time. We had questions for sure, but we'll see what they do again this weekend in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. And then one of the what we thought was going to be match of the week, we had AC Milan Liverpool. Uh, Early goal from Pulisic. Um, and we thought Milan was going to run away with this game, and then we got a goal from Konate and then from Van Dijk. Both off set pieces. AC Milan looked weak in those type of areas, and then they just ran away with the game.
Yeah, definitely. Man of the match performance from Gravenberch, Ryan
Yeah,
Gravenberch, absolute master class. Cody Gakpo played pretty well too, got the assist on Superslide's goal, I believe. Um, but yeah, I mean, kind of was a stunner. Milan's good enough to compete,
hmm
with the best for sure. They have the names, that's for sure, but they always seem to fall short, just like they did last season as well. But when Pulisic scored, I thought, wow, massive game changer.
yeah,
It was very, very early. It was a good run from him, good shot, good everything. But Slot Ball has returned, and they look to keep form so far.
yeah, definitely. I feel like there's still some question over Jota playing up the top. He had a couple of misses that if Gakpo or Nunez were in the position, she would have scored. But what do I know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, Darwin Nunez did get some playing time, about probably like 20 minutes or so, something like that. But definitely key. I mean, to see what's going to happen moving forward. I mean, I feel like it really just depends if they're going to keep winning, keep losing. As long as they don't keep losing, I mean, they should be sticking with him for sure.
Yeah. And then we're gonna move on to the beating of the week.
Yeah,
We had Bayern Dynamo Zagreb, 9-2.
yeah,
4 goals from Kane, 1 goal from Guerrero, 2 from Olise in his Champions League debut. Sane with the goal, and then Goretzka.
yeah, definitely. I thought Guerrero's goal was pretty dang nice too, kind of like off the half volley or volley, whatever you call it. If that was 3 feet back, I think that's in contention for goal of the week. It was an absolute belter. But I mean, Bayern or Bayern. I mean, we didn't expect 9-2, but I mean, Bayern have been putting 6-7 past every opponent right now. Vincent Company's absolutely killing it for them. Harry Kane might win a trophy. I mean, just absolutely mental.
Uh,
But generally, I mean, it's absolutely mental how well they're playing right now.
but yeah, it was an absolute torching, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. Harry Kane, in contention. Well, I mean, a few Bayern players now in contention for Golden Boot this season in the Champions League. So
Here's a crazy stat for you guys as well. Dynamo Zagreb have sacked their coach 2 days after the 9-2 beating, and it's just it kind of sucks to see that.
yeah, I mean, they act like they're one of the bigger clubs, of the Champions League format. I mean, it's Bayern, buddy. It's
Yeah,
Bayern. I mean, if you
I
look
don't
at
know.
the results, like I said, they've been putting 6, 7, 8 past, you know, normal Bundesliga teams.
Yeah, but it still sucks to see.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
we're going into the next game. We had Madrid versus Stuttgart. We had Mbappe's first Champions League game for Madrid. Gets a goal. Rudiger gets a second. And Endrick, the ball that this kid had to shoot that ball instead of passing it left or right, I'll give him credit
Yeah,
for that. I'll give
yeah,
him credit for that.
definitely.
Even though his PR is insane.
Yeah, I mean, you were hating. The second he scored, he was like, "Oh God, now we're never gonna hear the end of it." But definitely, I mean, unreal goal for sure. To take that. I mean, Stuttgart, they did surprise us there at the beginning. Got
Yeah.
a goal. You know, I already knew. I mean, lined it up. I mean, we already knew what was gonna happen. I mean, I saw the result at 1-1, and then I was like, okay, well, it's Madrid, it's the Champions League, you know, refs. I mean, we already know what's gonna happen. Sure enough, they win 3-1. But definitely, I mean, yeah, it could have been anything. Um, Jude Bellingham takes the one of my underrated performances, I'd say, of the match. Courtois did end up winning man of the match. I don't always, absolutely love Jude, but he did play well, earned my respect a little bit more there. But yeah, definitely not the most competitive game we got.
Yeah. And then last game for that Tuesday, we had Sporting and Lille. We got the banger of the week from the Beast. He's
His
getting
first
two,
ever goal, I
yeah,
think,
first
for the
ever goal as
club.
well. That's truly, truly deserved. It was such a good goal. And then Victor Gyökeres, if I pronounce that correctly,
Yeah, I
scores
think
as
so.
well. He was linked to Arsenal, linked to Chelsea, linked to Tottenham, linked to Man. He was linked everywhere. Um,
He won
Everyone
man of the
thought
match also.
won a man of the match. Yeah, he was linked everywhere. Um, didn't surprisingly didn't move. I think he extended his contract for another year, and he said
He's
he was going to
definitely proven
stay.
himself.
Yeah, but still, you know, it's one of those players where just because you sign a new contract doesn't mean you're going to stay.
Yeah, definitely. There was a red card in this match. I mean, we did see it in the 40th minute, just after one of the goals, and then it was another goal in the 65th minute from the boss, which was a banger of the week. But definitely, I mean, Sporting, I felt, had this regardless. Lille have never shocked us in the Champions League. They've always kind of staying where they are, but Sporting, at times makes good runs in the European Championship games.
Definitely. But yeah, that was a good Tuesday. Great start to the Champions League. Then we'll move over to Wednesday, where a lot of people would say very lackluster day. Not the greatest of games. First up, Bologna Shakhtar ends 0-0. There was Shakhtar missed a penalty in the fourth minute. Um, Yeah. I mean, you can only watch so much because of Paramount's um system kind of sucks. I will admit.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
Goloso show is very lackluster, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I mean, Shakhtar, we expected them to win for sure. I felt like to not win at all. There was, not necessarily shocking results, but somewhat surprising. A couple of games here. I mean, we definitely expected Dortmund to get the win, which they did easily. Celtic to win by so many, 5-1. I mean,
Exactly.
wow. I definitely expected Salzburg too to get a lot better of
Yeah.
a result, if not the win alone. Man City game was very much like the final. That's
Yeah.
very much like the final some odd years ago, but no result. I mean, Holland had a couple chances. Gundogan had a couple chances that should have been in. We finally did get to see a bit more of Phil Foden, who had an absolutely stellar performance as well. A couple good chances. I think Gore Vidal has proven to be huge in just about every match he's played this season. Phil Foden being back as well from sickness, from just a long summer. De Bruyne goes out. I mean, I fully expect to see a lot more. Well, I fully expect to see Phil Foden starting the next match, especially with De Bruyne out. And I expected him anyways, but it just seems so fitting that he comes in right when Kevin De Bruyne is out. Because that's basically how his career jump started. We look at last season, player of the season, for all of football, for Premier League football, just comes to be unreal off of an unfortunate Kevin De Bruyne injury coming off the Champions League the last season, and guy just absolutely explodes. So should see him in the number 10 role for Man City this weekend. We'll see what happens there. Inter had a couple good chances too that were just missed, playing out, you know, just awful takes. And Jack Grealish has been almighty super Jack Grealish lately. Doesn't show it on the stats. No goals, no assists, but absolutely a beast on the pitch.
Yeah, and I will give props to Calhungalo. He's playing like a whole different position. He's playing like a holding midfielder now. He was known for attacking mid. Now he's transitioned nicely into this new role, and he fits Inter Milan's team well. Yeah, like you said, they had good chances. Their midfield was really good. Sommer had a lot of saves as well. I think he won man of the match.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, still, something about a Wednesday was a bit lackluster for sure. Even PSG, I mean, 1-0 happened on an own goal in the last minute.
Yeah,
We definitely expected to see, I don't know what you'd say, shaky start for PSG or lackluster start for PSG, just because obviously the biggest move of the season
losing
in
Mbappe.
losing Mbappe, yeah, for sure. But I mean, Girona have quite a bit of a squad themselves. Danny Van Den Beek, from Manchester United, Brian Gill from Tottenham, Oriol Remu from Barca at some point. It's not like they don't have some players, so it was a good matchup for sure. Just an unfortunate own goal there.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah. Not compared to the other days. Yeah, Wednesday was not the best, but either way, this is just beginning of the Champions League. The games are supposed to get more competitive, even better. So we just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. But we still have one more day with our Thursday. Take it away, Chooch.
So yeah, today, um, big game. I thought this game would be more competitive, but yeah, Leverkusen just thrashed Feyenoord 4-0. Verts stellar as always. He dude's been playing out of his mind. Grimaldo with the goal and then own goal. Yeah, and then Leverkusen's keeping up that form from last year,
Yeah.
and it looked really strong. Um, uh, yeah, like I said, I know they kept most of the team from last year. Uh, I believe the only one that's Jonathan Todd. They said that I think he said that he wasn't going to stay after this year.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern have been looking into him. I think United have been looking into him. A lot of people for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, we've been talking about Santi Jimenez all summer too, to move to not necessarily a bigger club, but a Nottingham Forest, a Premier League club. I
Was
think Arsenal were even linked to him.
was linked
Um,
to Leverkusen as well.
yeah, Palace too. He was linked to a ton of places. I mean, against this team, though, I mean, if you look at Leverkusen's team, I mean, yeah, just absolutely unreal, especially coming off of what they just did last season. Um, doesn't necessarily look like they'll, be able to beat Bayern in the form that they're in, but still, definitely, I mean, quality side could go far in the Champions League. Got all the way to the Europa League final, and I mean, their undefeated season ended there against
Yeah,
Atalanta, but still, I mean, hoping for a strong performance from them. I don't expect them to be out in any time but the later stages of the knockout rounds.
definitely. Yeah, and then the next game we had Benfica against Red Star. Um, yeah, I saw the goal also show Di Maria looked good. Um, the guy who scored, what's his name? The Turku.
I don't know how you say his name.
Yeah, but yeah, good goal as well. He played really well. But yeah, that's pretty much all from what I saw, from what they showed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, tough for sure. One of those games that maybe doesn't get shown as much just because they're not necessarily bigger clubs than what's been on.
Mm,
But definitely, I mean, it's always good for me to see names like Otamendi and Di Maria playing really well. You know, Otamendi being the former Man City man back in his day, absolute club legend for me. But definitely, I mean, good to see Benfica get the result. Di Maria, it seems to be his last season potentially,
so,
as he retired from international play. But Red Star Brigade, I mean, they have one of the best fan bases, out there. This was a home match for them, so I mean, not a bad result, I guess, considering the level of matchup you had there.
definitely. Yeah, leading to the next game, Atalanta Arsenal. David Raya comes up huge with a double save.
Yeah, double save on the pen,
Yeah,
unreal, honestly. I mean, for me in this one here, I just don't understand necessarily why Raheem Sterling may not have started, especially coming up, against Man City during this weekend, which we'll get to a little bit more later. Um, but definitely would have gave him, a better chance to find his legs, at least play a 45 minutes, see what happens. I'm not necessarily saying, Raheem Sterling dislikes Man City, but I could see how he would have some motivation against his former club, to
definitely,
go and score a goal, which he still could, potentially have the chance to, but I would have definitely, uh, I guess as a fan of, former football, he's a club legend. No matter what anyone says, he's a club legend. I fully would expect that he wouldn't celebrate if he did score. But I just want to see him play ball again. I mean, that's really it. Absolutely dangerous. We talked about it all last season. I mean, the guy, when he's on, he's on. Unfortunately, that's not all the time, but still. But definitely, we saw Gabriel Jesus start as well, outside of Kai Havertz up there. Uh, Declan Rice gets the back in the squad. Quadrado on the other side came into. I saw that Zaniolo as well. Um, Even California played, I believe, for Jurgen Timber. So definitely some names they're reintegrating back. But I definitely expected maybe a little bit more from Arsenal for sure. They should have won this matchup. No discredit to Atalanta, but just quality. I mean, Arsenal are one of the top clubs in the world.
Not a
Ah,
second.
see, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
Jokes aside, it was a good game despite the scoreline. It's one of that game and the Man City game. Those are two games where even though it ended in 0-0, there were still good games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this brings us to the next game. We had Atletico Leipzig. Atletico 2-1. Um,
That's probably my game of the week for Champions League. That
yeah,
held up.
this held up. Benjamin Sesko scored. Also, he's one of those strikers also linked pretty much to all the big clubs looking for a striker. He as well, I think, signed a new contract, extended.
Yeah, definitely. Julian Alvarez been a little quiet since he got to Atletico Madrid. Definitely said. I mean, he said he wanted a new challenge. He is getting starts, but he is coming off also. Not really sure what he's feeling or thinking at this point in time. I'm sure he's maybe a little bit more comfortable. A lot more Spanish speakers in the squad. Sorloth, another Norwegian striker that has been, playing at the same time. I'm sorry, not at the same time, in replacement of him. Conor Gallagher got in the game as well a little bit later, getting integrated. But I mean, Rodrigo De Paul, absolutely stellar. This guy is so underrated for me. One of the best midfielders right now, I think, personally. He's just so good. He does the hard work, he does the dirty work no one wants to do, and he still finds a way to make the excellent passes, still finds a way to make an impact on both ends of the field.
Disgusting player. I hate him. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely. He is exactly what you said. That player that
Yeah,
does what that no one else is willing to do
yeah. I
and
believe
benefits the team.
Griezmann won man of the match of this one
Yeah.
as well. I think he actually won player of the week for the Champions League in general.
Yeah. And then Brest 2-1 against Sturm Graz. I didn't see any of this, so I can't comment on it respectfully.
Yeah, no, I only saw goal highlights of this one. Um, but I mean, it was definitely it looked like a good game. I mean, 2-1 with the red card. Always definitely expect the team with the red card to lose. But it did come very, very late in the game, anyways. And I mean, Strumgras was only scored on an own goal. Nothing too much coming from their side in that end. But definitely, I mean, not too many names you've heard of from either of these squads, but that's kind of a little bit more of the point, I guess you could say, in extending the format that we suggested from 32 teams to 36 and more equal, competitions among the clubs. So I would have said this was a fair matchup here, and the better team probably came out with the result.
Yeah. And ending off Champions League, we had Monaco versus Barca. 2-1 for Monaco. Barca shot themselves in the foot after Eric Garcia red card. And
Very reminiscent of last season's fallout of the Champions League. I mean, it is a bit harsh. I mean, it was right in front of goal. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it is what it is, but at the same time, I mean, after last season's red card against Araujo, wasn't deserved. It wasn't a deserved red for me. I mean, this one I guess was a lot more deserved of a red. But in the 11th minute, I mean,
yeah,
cheer for the love of anything. I mean, I'm sure Hansi Flick is absolutely livid. Was absolutely livid, but the Yamal, I mean,
comes up huge. First
just
Champions League goal.
absolutely special. Yeah, 17 years old. 28th minute, down one, comes up with the absolute goal. He was freaking juggling in the tunnel. He was keep up with the ball in the tunnel right before they walked out. I'm like, man, this kid. I mean, jeez, it seems like he just loves the game. I mean, you love to see that for sure too. Everybody's hating on Ter Stegen right now. Feel like one of the goals shouldn't have been a goal and whatnot, but it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. But Barca are still extremely down bad, yet still find a way to play well, all season. I think Barca are my dark horse for the season. I think they could very well win it, as well as probably. I mean, Bayern's not a dark horse, but they never win it really. So I go Bayern and Barca are my underrated picks.
Yeah, and we saw the return of Ansu Fati as well. Got a
Mm-hmm.
couple minutes in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to get his legs under him, man. I mean, guy hasn't played, since last season in the Premier League. Even when he was a little bit more healthy, he really didn't play much at all either. But yeah, I mean, definitely good to see. 2 minutes plus that stoppage time. Not too bad. Good for him. Number 10 shirt.
Yeah, yeah, that recaps our Champions League week, and that
Yeah.
can get us to transition to the Prem. We got
Massive games this weekend for the Prem. Massive. I mean, not necessarily massive, but just absolute bangers. I mean, whoever brought up the match day sheet this week deserves a raise. You have
yeah,
some absolute cracker games. Go for it.
God, kick off early morning, 4:30 a.m. I will be there. Chelsea, West Ham, London Derby. We are winning. No excuse. No
Yeah,
excuse.
we.
We are winning. Yes, I
Yeah.
truly am hoping, and then I feel it that we're gonna come in. We're gonna win. We're gonna do it.
You never know what to expect from either of these teams. I really couldn't tell you who's going to win it. On paper, Chelsea probably have the better, more talented squad. But I mean, then when you look at West Ham, absolute cracker of a team as well. Mohamed Kudus has been unreal since joining at the Premier League. Lucas Paqueta, on and off, it seems. Jared Bowen, always dangerous. But Chelsea, man, I mean, it just depends what Chelsea you're going to get. You could get a mediocre Chelsea and still win potentially against West Ham. You could get, an absolute belter Chelsea who puts six past the team that's really, really strong defensively. I really don't know. I mean, I could say 1-1, 0-0, and it'll end up 8-2, or I have no idea. I really couldn't choose. Gonna stick with the City Ham for sure. Going for the Hammers. I will not be
Jesus,
there that early at
crazy.
work that morning, so I will just wake up and hope for a hate watch. But I don't know for who.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see, what we do. I wonder if Sancho will get the start or will Pedro Neto get the start. Will Nkuku go instead of Jackson? Um,
Definitely.
only time will tell. We should be getting all the team report by tomorrow morning, Friday. Um,
Yeah,
let's get us the next game. I think this game's gonna be a good game. There's so many games. We got Villa Wolves. Villa coming off that huge Champions League win. They're gonna want to live off that high. But Wolves so unpredictable as always. Gab says it. They got dogs,
yeah, they got
and it's
absolute
true.
dogs.
Even though people are still bringing up the battering against Chelsea. It's just one of those games. But still,
They
they
were in
have
it, yeah. They
yeah
were in it the whole
they were in
time.
it. Yeah, they have the quality of players. It should be a good game. Morgan Rogers, who'd been balling out.
Yeah, he got the start up top with
Yeah,
Ollie Watkins last game. Um, No John Duran yet. We'll see what happens there.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I mean, if you look at Wolves' results, I mean, they haven't absolutely been battered. I'd say, against Arsenal, the first match day, I mean, was arguably their worst. They drew Forest, who are an undefeated team right now. You know, up until halftime with Chelsea, I mean, they were neck and neck. They were, I believe, leading 2-1 at the half, and then Newcastle. I mean, losing to absolute bangers of goals is
yeah,
not the worst thing. Played a solid game. It just took something special to beat them. So like I said, they got dogs. They know how to win games. They're tough. They're physical. They're intimidating, without necessarily being physical all the time. Um, I don't know. I mean, I want to say Villa, but short week. I think it's 3 match days for 7 days for a lot of these teams right now. A lot of the Champions League teams. So we'll see what happens. But I do expect Villa to win this one at home.
yeah. But I don't think it'll. I certainly don't think it'll be as easy. I think Wolves will give them a
Yeah.
run for their money. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then kicking off next game, another game that has so much potential to be such a good game. Fulham Newcastle. Fulham has been playing. They're been playing decent. The results just haven't been there necessarily. A lot of draws, uh, slight margin wins. Um, yeah, I feel like this game could go either way.
Definitely. I feel that way as well. Fulham have been playing really good. Just, yeah, like you said, haven't gotten the results. Newcastle, one of those undefeated teams as well right now. Not necessarily, I'd say, I guess, one of the higher scoring teams. I mean, their goal differential is only 3, even though they sit in third. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd fully expect this could go either way. Newcastle have the chance to stay among the top 3 with a good, decisive performance win, or this could be the time where they drop down going forward.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I think this game has potential for like a 2-1 win to Newcastle. I think if they're gonna win it, I think it's gonna barely be.
Could
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah. That's what I'm sensing. It's at Craven Cottage though, so Fulham are the home team for that.
Yeah, always tough. Let's
Next,
see.
next up, Leicester Everton.
At King Power Stadium,
King Power Stadium. Uh,
Jamie Vardy will
Jamie
be
Var having a party against
having
Everton,
a
buddy.
party.
I'm thinking like a 2-0, 3-0 win
Wow,
for
no, I don't
Leicester.
know about that. I don't know about
They're
that.
actually, you know what? Leicester's defense has been super shaky. I will give them the benefit of the doubt that they will concede a goal. 3-1.
See, I think it'll be like 2-0 at half, and then Leicester will come back, maybe 4-2. I mean, this is like a proper football heritage match here. Everton, I probably expect to dominate actually in the possession range, but Leicester, they just take their chances. I mean, they're not necessarily one of the better clubs. We saw them in prime television with Tottenham, a few match days ago, and when they had the chance, they took it. Obviously, Jamie Vardy is one of the best to do it in the Premier League. So I do expect Leicester to come out on top with this one. Not too sure the stat line, but I do think it probably more narrow than a decisive one.
I like it. Um, Next up, we got Liverpool Bournemouth. You know, you would think Liverpool have this in the bag, but Bournemouth always tricky. Mm, at Anfield, I don't know. I don't know.
I would not. I mean, slot ball, you could say, is somewhat back. A lot of players, everyone's back. No international break they're coming off of, but it is still a short week.
Hmm.
You never know. I mean, they've used players. I believe Gakpo did end up getting the start last week, or well during the Champions League week, but um, I mean, they haven't really rested too many of their key players, so we'll see how it affects them. Endo did play in the Champions League match, so he could be a solid starter or substitute. Joe Gomez played as well, who never really plays in the Prem games, so could be a good shout for him to start. Not fully sure what to expect yet, but Bournemouth could definitely give them a run for their money.
Yeah. Yeah. Basing off past results for Bournemouth, 1-0 loss to Chelsea, 3-2 win to Everton, 1-0 loss against West Ham, and a 1-1 draw with Newcastle. So you know they're they're gonna. I feel like they're gonna give Liverpool a run for their money. I can sense Bournemouth maybe scoring an early goal and then Liverpool running away with the game.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go Liverpool 3-1.
I like it.
Yeah, let's see.
Next up, Southampton, Ipswich. Let's see. I don't know, buddy. What do you think?
I mean, it could go either way for sure. I mean, we've seen Ipswich lose to like a fourth division club in the last month. We've also seen them last week, not perform absolutely terribly. They actually got, I guess you could say, somewhat of a result against Brighton, 0-0, and they drew against Fulham as well. So I just think, I don't know. I think this is one of those clubs that they have the attacking talent. They have the guy. For me, Liam Delap is the guy. I mean, he's up and coming. He reminds me of like honestly, a young Jamie Vardy, and that's just shouts. I mean, that's shouts. That's shouts on shouts. I know it is. But still, I mean, look at the guy. Watch the guy play one game. Just throw on like a highlight of every Ipswich game. The guy moves just like Jamie Vardy, dude. I mean, he takes his chances when he has them. He scored against Man City. I mean, he's done what he needs to do. This guy he's the real deal. And if the awful day, the god awful day when Jamie Vardy retires, if this lad moves to Leicester, I mean, I would not mind at all. But definitely, I mean that's just huge shouts for him. I feel he's been so good. Calvin Phillips, really competitive, high class, I guess you could say, player, or thought to be high class player at one point, has the chance to control the midfield. I mean, we've seen Southampton be absolutely awful. Brennerton Diaz is on like the worst losing streak you've ever seen, because he was on Sheffield last season. Now he's back here. Cameron Archer as well. Really just these guys are good players. And I vouched for Cameron Archer too last season. I said he was really good, and he was. Ugo Chukwu, he's there. I mean, they got some talent for sure. I think this will be a slept on cracker of a game. It's definitely one of those other ones like the Leicester game, where I say this is like a proper football heritage game. Aaron Ramsdale might win man of the match or something. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like has potential to be a good game.
Yeah, definitely. Would like to see definitely some more too from Amari Hutchinson.
Definitely, it's been pretty silent so far.
Yeah. And we have
Next,
another banger. Go for it.
you got Tottenham, Brentford. Wissa has been insane, and Bournemouth has been insane. Tottenham have been playing Brennan
You know,
Johnson's been
yeah,
getting flamed by the fans. Part,
absolutely
Partly
flamed.
celebrated in the after the EFL Cup. win with the last minute goal. He hardly even celebrated, hardly clapped with the fans. He's been getting flamed super hard.
Yeah, definitely. Tough. I mean, even I said, I was really had high hopes for Brennan Johnson at the beginning of the season. He's underperformed. Everyone goes through it. I mean, we definitely see it with a lot of youngsters. We've called shouts to, an unbelievable list of names that you probably couldn't believe. Freaking players like Halilovic. I mean, who's just someone you could think of that's like a huge shot. You were like, oh, this guy is going to be the next guy. And they just absolutely flopped. I mean,
Munir.
yeah, see, for Barca's Munir, freaking, it's just, I don't know. I mean, he could be a flop still. Who knows? But he hasn't been playing too well. Hopefully, that gives him some hope there. He is a Welshman himself, so somewhat, at home ish in England. Wilson Odobert out. Looks like it's going to be a substantial injury. We'll probably get an update tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
Richarlison's been out as well. Still will probably be a couple more weeks. Solanke seems to be back. Maybe ready to go. Timo Werner, hopefully as well. I'd like to see Timo Werner get the start, just see what he could do,
Yeah.
or even put Kulusevski up there, even though he's been starting in the midfield. But yeah, Rolls Royce of a team Spurs have for sure. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Vicario has been for me one of the best keepers out there right now. But in terms of Brentford, Brentford have been unreal. They played against Man City unreal. They played against every team so far and shocked me. So I fully expect a lackluster team like Spurs to get caught off guard by the dynamic duo of Brian Mbuemo and Jan Wissa.
Yeah.
And Ben Mee.
Future Barclays man.
Yeah. Freaking for real. Future Barclays man. Ben Mee is a Barclays man. You know what? I'm gonna throw him in there one of these times. I'm gonna get an absolutely filthy Ben Mee compilation going. Yeah, what a defender, and I hope he gets named a starter this week. He probably won't. He's more like a Scott Carson for them, but at the
Moral
end of the
support,
day,
leadership
if
guy.
if Ben Mee is if Ben Mee makes an appearance, I will be there.
uh, yeah.
Proper baller.
We're rounding off this Saturday with Crystal Palace, Man United at Selhurst Park.
Prime matchup, prime time slate for the matchup.
Yeah.
I don't
Man
know.
United coming off a 7-0 win off Barnsley.
People, their fans are telling everyone it's Barca. They beat Barca 7-0.
Because it's a bar.
Because
Yeah.
the abbreviation was BAR. But yeah, absolute bashing. I want to see the passion from Rashford again. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not a big United fan. Don't really care for them too much, but Rashford, man. After seeing last week's performance in the weekend, he had the goal. Just felt so awful to see him like hardly celebrate. Hart didn't seem in it. You got your right winger commenting on Twitter and your coach dropping him from the squad. Like, the guy's just in an awful spot, man. You score a goal, you should be. If you ever seen freaking João Cancelo score a goal, God forbid that guy has, any I don't know who he's actually loyal to, what club, but that guy celebrates like
It's
he was
crazy.
a childhood, fan
Academy
of
player.
that club. Yeah, academy player. Like he dreamed of playing for that club his entire life. That guy looks like he will die for the badge right then and there every time he scores a goal. And yeah, just absolutely nuts. But I just want to see some passion. A lot of talk this week about potentially going on strike for the amount of games that they have to play.
Yeah.
Thierry Henry said it himself as well, like that he just feels like a lot of these guys play without passion now, just because it's so much. Rodri said that he would potentially participate in a strike that left you know basically every league unplayable at this time, just because they're playing so many games. I think he played 79 matches last calendar year. That's quite unreal. That's over a match a week. There's 55 weeks in a year, or
Crazy
52 weeks
games.
in a year, and I mean he's playing 79 times. That's definitely unreal. I'm expecting Man United to win this one though.
Yeah. I feel like they're gonna keep off that. Hopefully, we see more. We see Rashford
This
just
will
balling out.
potentially be as is last season at Crystal Palace.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah, it
But
could be.
yeah, that's our Saturday slate. We only got 2 games for Sunday, and they are good games. First day, 6 a.m. Brighton Forest should be a cracker. Brighton been playing good. Forest have been pretty good. They just beat Liverpool. Um, yeah,
Surprise of the season so far, I'd say, for Forest.
yeah. Let's see what are we gonna. That's probably Callum Hudson-Odoi along the start with Gib White's in the center. Um, we'll just have to see who they start up top. Will it be Chris Wood? Will it be Awonyi and Ketia? Not Ketia.
No, Ketia's in
No,
Palace,
yeah,
mate.
yeah. But yeah, who are they going up top? Should be good. Like Brighton playing well.
Yeah,
Evan
definitely.
Ferguson slowly getting in to the team.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, two undefeated, matchups here. If Forest come away with this one, or at least a draw, I mean, that's a massive result for them. Really getting out ahead in the beginning is huge, absolutely huge, because you're not battling every week. You don't have to battle every week. Yeah, you can go on a losing streak, but man, you don't have to battle to the ends of the ends. Last season, I felt like they barely secured themselves with 2 or 3 match days to go. It was probably really tough of a grind. But yeah, I mean, shouts to Forest, undefeated in this Premier League is quite unreal.
Yeah, and we're wrapping off this week with a banger. Should be match of the week on paper. Will we get that? I don't know. We're gonna see defensive masterclass possession ball. Arsenal,
Yeah,
Man City at the Etihad. Michael Oliver is the ref.
chalk it up, mate.
Chalk it up. It's at 0-0 draw. Both of them coming off 0-0 draws. Um, the Champions League, and they're gonna do it this week.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely will be huge for the table as Man City could stay up top. He had a lot of good stuff going on. You know, Arsenal down a little bit with Odegaard out will be massive for them. I think this is another one where Jorginho is an absolute must for the probably the entire game. Probably with along the likes of Partey and Declan Rice, I'd say maybe, or maybe Partey out and Trossard starting in the middle as well. But definitely, I mean, this is one we haven't seen the best of results from this game in the past few seasons, or in the past season or so, season and a half. But still, I mean, we always managed to get a 1-0 or, something. Last season, it was the most notable Martinelli's last probably goal, which I think which turned out to be an own goal, I think, for Nathan Ake. But yeah, I mean, just we'll see what happens with Arsenal. I fully expect us to dominate. Kevin De Bruyne will be out for certain, so I do expect Phil Foden to get the start as he's worked his way back into the squad after illness in the long summer. Rodri obviously should start this massive game. Holland, not sure Savinho would get the start on this one. I'm sure Jack Grealish, who has been getting the start, will play and start. Maybe Doku on the other side. I would just say that because more experience. Urian Timber has been playing absolutely unreal at the left back position, though. So maybe Savinho could, get in there, loosen him up, and then Doku could come cook at the end like he usually does. Come on, man. Have some dignity. Jesus.
I didn't say anything.
Bernardo Silva should start. I'm expecting Holland,
Rico Lewis should start better
maybe
than Pat
Savinho.
Walker.
Nah, no.
So you wouldn't start Rico Lewis.
I mean, I would start Rico Lewis, but I don't know. Not right now. I'm
He's been playing
expecting
insane.
Holland. Yeah, he has been. But at the same time, I mean, in the biggest matchup, you want your biggest players. I don't know. Don't see it just yet. I don't think he's Arsenal starting yet. But I'm going Holland, Grealish. It probably will be Savinho, but I'm probably thinking Doku will get in there. Foden, Bernardo Silva. Let me think. Rodri, Corvidal on the left, who's been absolutely unreal. Probably Akanji, probably Ruben Diaz, and Kyle Walker. With Ederson, obviously. But if it's not Akanji, it'll be John Stones. Nathan Ake's still out. But yeah, let's see. I'm gonna go a short one again. I'm gonna go 1-0 Man City in a tough one. Because Arsenal buried down the hatchet. They parked the bus.
Yeah,
They
that's what I'm
will.
saying. No,
They probably will press very, very high like they usually do. But usually where we always get them is they love to press high. But then when we pick them out, they sit in their box. All freaking 10 men just sit in their box. And I mean, there's only so much you could do. I mean, you could cross in chances. They do have two really good center backs, obviously for Holland, which will take up most of their time. We'll see what happens there, but definitely, hoping we get the result. We need it for sure. We need it. Long season feels like already for these guys. We probably have, one of the most toughest short day schedules, in all the leagues, along with some of these other Arsenals and such. So we'll see what happens.
yeah. Sticking with what I said, 0-0. Defensive masterclass possession game.
Yeah, definitely. It could be. Yeah, I do see that for sure. I mean, hopefully Arsenal don't get that one lucky one like they did last week
Yeah, hopefully
against
not.
Tottenham.
But yeah, that is our Sunday games. Just two. All the other games will be on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. Last mentioned of a bit. Last 10 matches, City Arsenal. 7 wins for City, 2 wins for Arsenal, and 1 draw in all competitions. Pep owns Arteta. Owns him.
Yes.
Owns him. Don't forget to check out our TikTok coming out for our Barclays man of the episode. We had John Joe Shelby. Could be out very, very soon. Probably the next couple of days. We did just post a Yannick Bolasie one here very short time ago, earlier today, which is Thursday, the 19th. But this episode will come out on the 20th. So go and check out our TikTok, which will be in the description below and in our profile. That is all I have. Any final thoughts?
Like, comment, subscribe, and up the Blues.
Yes, and you have been kicking it with Gab
and Chuch.